Hey there, Jim Gavigan. It's been a little while since I posted any fishing videos. It's just frankly been too hot to fish, and I've been really kind of hell bent on breaking 70 in golf for the first time ever. And so I've been playing a lot of golf, and I only have a limited amount of time. I do have to earn a living as well. But we're at the beginning of our mullet migration here in Florida, what we call the mullet run. And for those of you that aren't from here, aren't fishermen, basically what we have is a bait fish called a mullet that makes their way out of the estuaries and rivers and creeks and all of that. And for some unbeknownst reason, they migrate south along the beach. Basically, they can start anywhere between the middle of August, and I've seen them in the surf as late as the first week of December. But generally, it peaks probably like September, October time frame. And literally, it's a swimming buffet line. So the fishing isn't fishing anymore, it's catching. You don't know what you're going to catch, but if you catch it right, and there's mullet in the surf, you're going to catch fish, period. Like it's all but guaranteed. It's really an amazing experience. And it's like nothing I've ever experienced before. I look forward to it every year, and we've had two back-to-back bad mullet runs because of hurricanes. And Dorian and Umberto affected it really bad last year. We had probably like 3 straight weeks where we had like 6 to 8 foot waves on the beach, like unrelenting. And when all that cleared up, there were no mullet left. They just, I think they decided to stay out further offshore and migrate out there instead of coming in along the beach. It was horribly disappointing because it's something we look forward to every year. But anyway, we went out Sunday night, which is August 30th, 2020. And, it was Nick and myself, and a really weird night. I forgot my weights at home. I had separated out my cheap weights that I used during the mullet run because we get so many bite-offs, with the expensive ones, which I use for pompano and whiting fishing when I'm trying to put fish on the dinner plate. And I brought everything but that to the beach, and you kind of need those to keep things on the bottom and keep them held. Anyway, let me. So anyway, I'd forgotten my weights and had Christina, my wife, bring them over to us. And she brought her camera, and she hung out with us, and she took most of the pictures that you'll see coming up. We really hadn't caught a lot. We caught this ladyfish, and that was actually a pretty big ladyfish. We had caught a little small shark, which you'll see here, and then we caught a little bigger shark, probably, I don't know, 2.5, 3 feet. I think it was a little spinner shark from what I could tell. I'm not the best at identifying all the different shark species, but anyway, it was just kind of a slow night, and we had a bunch of bite offs. So I went up in weight in pound test of the line. Usually I use somewhere between 30 and 50 pound test, and usually a 3/0 or maybe even a 4/0 hook, fairly small. And we catch tons and tons of fish off of that. But when the bluefish show up or there's a lot of sharks around, you gotta bump it up. So I bumped it up to I believe it was 80 pound or maybe even 100 pound test line on my leader, and a much bigger 6/0 hook. And I'm fortunate that I did that for what was about to happen. So anyway, we're just kind of sitting there, and Nick and I are actually checking our phone. Not a whole lot going on. Christina had left us. She was taking some pictures, or she was going to try to take some pictures of what turned out to be a really beautiful sunset. She was over about 5 or 6 minutes away at the Intercoastal Waterway, a little park that kind of overlooks the Intercoastal. And some folks happened to walk by and said, "Hey, what does it look like when you get a bite?" And I said, "Oh, you can usually tell, the rod bends over." And they're like, "Well, that one, the green one there, just bent over and then popped right back up." I'm like, "Yeah, we've been seeing that a bunch. Something will hit it and won't stay on." So I said, "Nick, go check it." And so my 16-year-old, my youngest son, Nick, he goes over and he picks it up, kind of holds it for just a second, and then we get a huge hit, and literally all hell broke loose at this point. And I see a couple of big splashes out there. I mean, I thought it was a shark. because a lot of times we'll hook a black tip shark and they jump and spin and they're absolutely crazy. But Nick was like, "Dad, it's a tarpon." And so I wasn't really thinking too much of it, because I'm like, okay, it'll like throw the hook. I mean, we probably hooked 4 or 5 this size, and we don't keep them very long. I think the longest I kept one was last year. I had it on for maybe like a minute, and it jumped 6 times, peeled off probably 150 yards of line. I mean, just straight out to sea. I thought I was going to lose everything, but fortunately on the sixth jump, it shook that big old head and used the weight to dislodge the hook. So I figured that was going to happen again, right? So I wasn't too worried about it, But so I texted Christina at 7:36 p.m. and said, "Hey, tarpon on." And Nick fought it for a couple of minutes, and then he handed it to me because that last shark had kind of given him, all he wanted. His arm was a little bit sore, and so I took over. And I realized this was going to be a battle. I realized this fish wasn't coming off. And so I had Nick call Christina, and I was like, "Get back over here. Like, this could be a fish of a lifetime here. This could be a once-in-a-lifetime experience here." So she came back over, and 41 minutes after I sent that text, at 8:07, I walked into the water to grab the leader and land the fish. And absolutely once in a lifetime experience. I mean, that tarpon was easy 100 pounds, easy. And I talked to Noel Kuhn, who's a surf guide here in the area, and he said, "Jim," he goes, "I've probably hooked 200 tarpon. I've got one to the beach." And Thomas and I had about a 40-pounder, 40 maybe 50-pounder to the beach last year, and the knot gave up right as I was going to grab it in the foot deep water, because I couldn't. You can't land them. It's against the law. To actually put them on land, so you have to go in the water with them, which makes things a little bit dicey with waves and all that. But anyway, so I went in the water at 8:07 to land the fish. So a 41-minute fight, and in the video you'll see there were some people on a vacation home right behind us that cheered really loudly. It was great. So I was kind of playing them up, it was pretty awesome. That was a heck of a show that fish put on, and literally my bicep was sore for 3 days after that. So absolute fish of a lifetime. Glad I get to share it with you, and hope you enjoy this little short video and these pictures. Thanks.
I stopped recording, but I recorded again. No, keep recording. No, I stopped, but I'm recording again. I wanted you to get more. I was worn out from those sharks.
Mad.
I don't know if we'll be able to get it. On this, you did switch to bigger stuff.
I'm trying to. I hope I've got enough line on this thing.
I'll say it's about like over 100.
This is a big tarpon.
There's a reason I made you start reeling it. I'll back up. What? I mean, he is huge. I saw him out there. It's like probably 30 yards past where you casted. Oh, there is.
I'm blowing the mullet up right here.
I'm gonna have to get someone else to hold your phone. So I'm gonna have to hold this while you land it. Or you can't land it, but while you're in the water with it. Huh?
You want them to do it. It's gonna be a little while. It's gonna be a little while.
Okay.
Be down.
It's right there. He's about to run.
Usually they fling us off really quick.
Well, hopefully you got a good hook and you can land it.
Got plenty of hooks. These things are really hard to land. I can't bring it on shore anyway. I'm gonna have to get down the water with it and cut it. All right, Nick, you can stop recording from that.